So the other day I was talking with someone, not even a client, and they asked me an interesting question that most clients don't ask, but maybe should, about what's going on with their kids and divorce. The question was, what would the perfect divorce or separation look like in the eyes of a child? And to be honest, it caught me a little off guard. In over 20 years of doing family law, no one has ever asked the question that bluntly and directly before. And I had to think about it for a second. Let me give you a little perspective on where I'm coming from. I'm a parent. I coach baseball, basketball, football, soccer, every sport. Was around a lot of different families over a lot of years. I've been practicing law for a really long time. During that time, I've represented hundreds of kids in various capacities being represented by the court, represented hundreds of parents who are going through custody battles. And back when I was a standing examiner for the circuit court, I took testimony and talked to thousands of parents about their arrangement and what worked or didn't work. So I have a little bit of a broader perspective here than just being a lawyer. And in my experience, there are really three things that a parent could do to optimize the future going forward for their child. Number one is to remember that you're still a family. You or your spouse may have chosen to get a divorce or separate, but your kids didn't. And your kids still love you, and they still love your family. Your family may look a little different, but your kids still want you to be able to be in the same place at the same time, breathing oxygen. Some parents just aren't up to the task. What that means is they literally can't go to the events for their kids. They can't go to the school plays. They can't go to the graduations. They can't go to the sporting events because it's too toxic. The tension is palpable. And if they do go, they're not near each other. They're not an intact family unit. Mom is over here, dad's over here. You're both there, but the reason you're apart is because everybody, especially your kids, know it's tense. In my experience, the most well-adjusted kids, which means the most well-adjusted adults, are able to put their differences aside, even if it's a little awkward, to be in the same place at the same time, being pleasant in public around their former spouse or child's other parent, even if a new significant other is present. It's not easy to do. It's going to require a lot of really focusing that it's not about you. It's really about your child. And your child loves you all. And if you can't figure out how to be in the same place at the same time when your kids are younger, after they turn 18, when they start to have choices about who's going to drop them off at college, who's going to pick them up at the end of the semester at college, who's going to attend college graduation, who's going to attend their wedding ceremony, the birth of your grandchildren, those all become options. You may be able to control the scenario when your kids are younger and have more influence, but remember, what you're doing is you're imprinting what your relationship and what your family structure is going to be for the rest of your lives. It doesn't stop when your kids are 18. The only difference becomes your kids start to have a choice about exactly what your role is going to be. The second thing that the most well-adjusted kids have experienced from well-adjusted parents is the parents have protected the idyllic image of the other parent. Now, what does that mean? Every child loves their parents. Every child thinks that their parents are perfect until they start to get old enough to really realize that their parents are just people and their parents can occasionally make mistakes or do things that normal people do that maybe isn't up to the ideal standard. But your kids need to figure that out on their own, and they're still going to love you. What is important is that as a parent, you protect their image of the other parent. You never cast blame on the other parent. If your child starts to experience frustration or anything negative about the other parent, you redirect them very quickly. Hey, your dad was just doing that because he loves you and he cares about you. Hey, mom was just doing this because you were misbehaving. Hey, your dad and I both agree that this is appropriate behavior and this isn't. In other words, they have each other's backs. They're not using it as an opportunity to take their adult conflict or adult differences as an adult partner and use their kids as a proxy or start to try and subtly shift their kids' belief in the other parent to maybe realize my other parent's not so great. Maybe they want to spend more time with me. Kids eventually figure that out. And the most well-adjusted kids have well-adjusted parents that back each other up. The third and last thing that I'll comment on that I think the most well-adjusted kids with the most well-adjusted parents have is the parents have flexibility. What that means is if one of the kids says, hey, do you mind if I spend an extra night at mom's house because it's going to be the night before the prom and mom can help me get my hair ready? Dad is not going to make a big deal of that. Dad's going to say, I think that's a great idea. I think you're going to look beautiful. I can't wait to come over and take pictures. There are some parents that are literally going to say, well, if you're going to go over there an hour early, I'm going to have to pick up an hour somewhere else. Your kids don't care about that. Quite frankly, neither should you. We're not keeping score. And when you're telling your kids that there's going to have to be some kind of makeup, it makes them think it's a game. It makes them think that someone's keeping score. That's not what your kids want. Your kids want flexibility. They want to be able to come and go from your house or from the other parent's house based on their needs and, yes, their desires. And that's going to shift over time. It's going to shift because you and your child's other parent have complementary roles in their lives. You're not competing for time. You're trying to create a well-adjusted child who's going to become a well-adjusted adult. For other great family law tips, make sure to click on the link down below. Download our book. It'll give you great tips on Maryland family law.